Hi guys, so it appears the report of Syria being fired at by Israel was the result of a cyber attack on the Syrian radar system, apparently by the United States and Israel. I have no idea if that's true, but I wanted to bring the update to you. Israel is also planning for a direct attack from Iran in response to their attack on the T4 airbase that took place after the reports of the chemical attack. So Israel believes that the attack will be launched directly by the IRGC and not by proxies as done before. This will be under the command of Qasem Soleimani in the form of precision-guided missiles or armed drones from a base in Syria. They're saying Israel will react strongly to any Iranian action from inside Syria, adding that Iran plans to attack Israel from Syria, gaining control of the Arab state through its air force. These photos show that Iran has increased the scope of its military relationship with the Assad regime under the auspices of the IRGC's Air Force commander. The source stated that both civilian and cargo airlines are used by the IRGC as a front for military transport flights, bringing in soldiers and weaponry to bolster Iran's military presence in Syria. So Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps has established several bases in Syria, including one military base in the Deir ez-Zor province in eastern Syria, seen with Ilyushin planes transporting weapons from Iran to Syria. The aerial intelligence photo showed 5 other air bases with IRGC presence: T4, Aleppo, Deir ez-Zor, Damascus International Airport, and an additional airfield south of the capital. And obviously we know that T4 is where Israel attacked after the alleged chemical weapons use in Duma, and apparently they killed 7 IRGC soldiers there, and Iran has said that there will be a response. So the photos supposedly illustrate how Tehran remains capable of flying in surface-to-surface missiles as well as unmanned aerial vehicles to the war-torn country under the guise of humanitarian aid. The release of the photos comes ahead of Israel's 70th Independence Day, when Iran will also be marking its National Army Day. The tensions have risen dramatically between the two arch-enemies following the infiltration of an Iranian drone in northern Israel, which the IDF announced on Friday was armed and on a sabotage attack mission against the Jewish state. Last week, an alleged Israeli airstrike on Syria's T4 airbase in Homs province killed 7 IRGC soldiers, including the Colonel Mehdi Degan, who led the drone unit operating out of the base. A senior IDF official confirmed to the New York Times on Monday that Israel was behind the attack, stating that the February incident opened a new period between the Jewish state and the Islamic Republic. This is the first time we saw Iran do something against Israel, not by proxy, he said, adding that the strike on the Iranians at T4 was the first time we attacked live Iranian targets, both facilities and people. Following the strike, Ali Akbar Velayati, the top aide to Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, warned that Israel should be waiting for a powerful response, and that powerful response may come tomorrow on Israel's 70th anniversary and Iran's Army Day, as well as Russia's Military Glory Day. And they said it will not remain unanswered. Khamenei's representative to the IRGC, Ali Shirazi, also cautioned that if Israel wants to continue its treacherous existence, it should avoid stupid measures. If they give excuses to Iran, Tel Aviv and Haifa will be destroyed. And that is the message that's coming out of Iran. So, as suspected, Israel is picking up chatter that Iran's going to attack them, and I suspect that Israel will not allow that attack to take place and will preemptively strike Iran first, whether that's Iran directly or whether that's Iran in Syria. As mentioned, both Iran and Syria have Russian military and equipment in them. Both Iran and Syria have the IRGC forces backing them. And both Iran and Syria have targets that are of interest to Israel, such as the bases that have been mentioned in this report, like T4, Aleppo, Deir ez-Zor, the Damascus International Airport, and another airfield south of the country, and in Iran with the 9 nuclear sites that apparently 2 Israeli fighter jets were able to get close enough to scope out in a report I talked about earlier this month. There's a lot of moving pieces going on, but they seem to be coalescing into one storyline, which is war in the Middle East. And the 70th anniversary of Israel is very significant, and the fact that all these tensions are escalating around this time says to me that there is a significant potential for events to kick off on April the 18th, whether that's Iran attacking Israel as they promised to do in response to the 7 IRGC soldiers that Israel killed, or whether that's Israel attacking Iran, excuse me, in response to the military build-up in Syria and in Lebanon. There's a lot of potential for things to happen. And in relation to April the 18th and all the things that are going on, I just wanted to quickly give you the list of things that are going on that day, or have been reported to be going on that day. Iran's Army Day, Russia's Day of Military Glory, Israel's Independence 70th Anniversary, Israel's Yom HaZikaron. We're in the middle of the Dark Sky Week by this Dark Sky Association. It's in the middle of the Key Resolve military drill by South Korea and the United States. China will start their live fire drill tomorrow. North and South Korea preliminary meeting. They may announce the official end to the war. Reminds me of the iPad goat video with the girl, the peace flag, the no nuclear sign. Then war could kick off. Apparently, the Japanese Prime Minister and Trump were supposed to be meeting at Mar-a-Lago tomorrow, but they're meeting today, so ahead of schedule. It's the end of the North Korea Sun Festival. The Day of the Sun for them started on April the 15th, 16th and 17th, Day of Rest, and 18th is the end. Amateur Radio Operator Day. These are the guys that took part in the communications interoperability exercise with the DoD and the Mars organizations in preparation for a possible outage in terms of electricity. This is the International Day for Monuments and Sites, or World Heritage Day, only significant because of all the references to the different monuments and sites that we've seen in movies, media, iPad Go 2, such as the Statue of Liberty, Brooklyn Bridge, Golden Gate Bridge, One World Trade Center, Big Ben, various different monuments and sites. They could potentially be destroyed in whatever way, whether by explosion or, by tsunami, earthquake, I don't know. But considering the attention that's been drawn to a lot of the monuments and sites, I don't think they're just indications of the places that they're contained within. They could be potential targets themselves. It's 63 years since the death of Albert Einstein. Obviously, 63 can be interpreted as 666. 112 years since the San Francisco earthquake, which killed over 3,000 people. Obviously, as I've mentioned, the Pacific Ring of Fire seems to be particularly active. Earthquakes escalating, and we're told in the Bible there'll be earthquakes in various places, or diverse places. We'll see if anything happens, but if anything does happen, it won't be a coincidence that it will be exactly on the anniversary of the last big earthquake. It would be 2 years since the Archer Bell was put up in Trafalgar Square in London. Obviously, demonic worship going on there. The chemical weapons inspectors were supposed to be visiting Syria tomorrow, but they're there today. So again, schedule's been moved up in that respect. There's a game called Fortnite, which was sending vibrations through a controller, which was interpreted as Morse code, and the Morse code came out as SOS. Obviously, that's an emergency. D4, I don't know what that exactly stands for, and then 418, which is obviously April 18th. Again, I don't know if there's much significance that should be placed on this, but it's just another indication to April the 18th. Also, the voicemail that was sent to some guy, and he put it on Twitter, and it went viral, so another indication to April 18th. Again, I don't know how much significance should be placed on the voicemail there. It's the 25th meeting of the Commonwealth, or the heads of the Commonwealth. So, again, another significant meeting taking place on April the 18th. NASA is set to launch a TESS satellite, which is a transiting exoplanet survey satellite. At the same time, Russia is launching a Blagovast 12L military communication satellite. We've got a couple of satellites going up on April the 18th. Again, satellites go up. Well, if you the argument of whether space exists and, the firmament and all that, I'm not getting into that. I'm just talking about this report here of these satellites being launched. Whether you believe in satellites or not, I don't know. I had a friend who used to tell me that satellites don't exist, and we used to have very healthy debates about that, but, not one I want to get into right now. It's also the first day of Shaban, which is on the Islamic calendar, and it's 30 years since the US naval attack on Iran, which was codenamed Praying Mantis. So it may be 30 years later, there could be another attack on Iran, either preemptively or in response to something. But Iran is definitely significant. North Korea is still significant as well. China, with their live fire drills, could turn into a real fire drill if things kick off. They've been contesting things in the South China Sea, and they're particularly annoyed that the USA has just granted to Taiwan some submarine technology. And obviously, there's the One China policy. China views Taiwan as part of its territory. But the United States, particularly Donald Trump, is not hip to the One China policy and is seeking to deal with Taiwan as a separate entity, as well as the British ships and the US ships going through South China Sea, claiming it as international waters. China again saying that's their territory. A lot of things going on. So I just wanted to bring all that to your attention, relist the things that are going on April the 18th. A lot of things, a lot of significant things happening. Whether something happens, I don't know. I was asked a question by Shawnee Boo regarding time zones. Is it going to be the 18th in Israel, or is it going to be the 18th in the UK or 18th in the USA? And obviously, because of the time zones, each place enters the 18th of April at a different time. The only thing I can think of is between the time zones of the world, there's 24 hours. So between Honolulu and Kiritimati on this world clock chart, there's 24-hour span. So at 12 o'clock midnight is the only time I can think for a brief second that the entire world is on the same date, regardless of what date that is. When it's 12 o'clock in Kiritimati and 12 o'clock in Honolulu, the whole world is on the same date. So that would make it 11 a.m. GMT or UK time and 6 a.m. Eastern time. Obviously, there's a reference to 9/11 there. If the two places we've been looking at, the UK and the East Coast of the United States, are attacked on the same day, it could be that it's 11 o'clock in the UK and 6 o'clock on the East Coast, which is, if you flip upside down, you've got a 9/11. Again, I don't know if anything's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know if anything does happen, when it's going to happen. But the only answer I have in reference to where is it going to be on the 18th is the whole world is basically on the same date when it's 11 o'clock in the UK or 6 o'clock in the East Coast or 12 o'clock in Kiritimati or 12 o'clock in Honolulu. Hi guys, I just wanted to add this on to the end of the last report. As I said, the OPCW, the chemical weapons inspectors, have been allowed to enter into Syria today, which was supposed to be scheduled for tomorrow. I have a theory, one that may pan out or may not, that these people, this watchdog, may announce that there is no evidence of any chemical weapons use. And I think the scenario for that has already been rolled out, because there's been reports published earlier that they weren't being allowed access to the chemical weapons site, or the site where this alleged chemical weapons attack took place. And obviously that was being published by Western media, and then Russia was saying that we are allowing them in, and then we've got reports that they're being allowed in today. What if they reach a conclusion that no chemical weapons were used? There's already backlash from the UK Parliament against Theresa May in regards to the UK's participation in the attack on Syria, and Donald Trump has walked back an announcement by Nikki Haley on Sunday that there would be sanctions against Russia for this chemical attack that took place in Syria. And I'm wondering if Trump has become aware that maybe no chemical attack actually took place and that the intelligence was false. We have President Macron saying that he was instrumental in getting Donald Trump to attack Syria, and it was France who said that they had evidence of chemical weapons use in Syria, though we never saw it. At least it wasn't published publicly. Yeah, I'm thinking we'll see. We'll see. You know, I don't think it's going to take these investigators long to reach a conclusion and publish their report. But that's my thinking. And obviously, if that happens, then there's definitely going to be some backlash, whether politically, economically, or militarily, from Russia and Iran and potentially Syria, because the attack would have taken place under false pretenses. But in the grand scheme of things, it's all planned out anyway. So I just wanted to kind of bring that train of thought to you. Have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and God bless.